And welcome to Warframe Wiki Wednesday, where I do this every week. I pull up a wiki and we go through that particular article. Particularly today, because it's kind of a hot button issue, is Titania. Being that Titania Prime is going to be coming out on the 31st. Give me 1 second. So, we're going to be covering her, particularly her abilities, so that you know what you're getting into. Just to give you kind of a, kind of a idea of what kind of frame she is. She is a one at a time target type of DPS slash CC frame. So she's not going to be like something you're going to be using to nuke maps or, things like that. Just want to get your feet wet. To be honest with you, I would even say just wait for the Prime to come out, because the Prime is going to be a lot easier to get. It's going to take you a lot less time to get the Prime than it will the regular one. And if I pull up a build, just to give you guys a heads up, I haven't even formed Titania one time since I've had her, and I've had her since the day of launch. She's okay for the most part. There are two particular builds. Obviously these aren't done because I haven't formed her yet, because I was just way I wanted to get a Prime. I didn't like her. I didn't like her CC when she had launched, but her CC is different, which I'll show you later. But yeah, we have a highly efficient build, which basically allows you to stay in her razor wing for what feels like forever. You get a 1.6 per energy per second, and already my internet's acting up. Wow. Anyway, and then we have actual better build. With this one, I'm probably doing a little bit more efficiency on it, or a little bit more range, something like that. But it's really focusing on her power strength. This is to increase the DPS of her fourth ability, which is, if not that, then it's probably going to be her second and her third. You're going to be using a lot. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into Titania, and then I'll get into her weapons last. Her weapons are pretty straightforward. If you know how to build pistols and you know how to build melees, then it should be pretty straightforward for you. Anyway, so without further ado, we have her abilities. Now the first one is Spellbind. Enemies fumble their weapons as they tumble into the air. Nearby allies become immune to status effects. This actually, I believe, is shown by a status thing at the top. But if I hit my first ability, it's actually an AOE kind of ability. So it'll hit a certain group of enemies, and they basically get crowd control. Now from here, they do kind of ragdoll. So if I hit him, he will move. Usually they just kind of move somewhere else or whatever, but I guess that got fixed or something like that. But this is going to be your basic CC ability. All right, that's just for starters, right? Her second ability, this is probably the one you're going to be using more so than often. And the way I kind of like to look at it, if I'm thinking about the right one, Tribute. Yeah, so Tribute, what this does is it puts out a buff, and as you can see in the bottom right hand corner, I can toggle the ability. The one I have been using on Titania when I use her is Thorns. I'll get into what they do in a moment, but just to show you what it does, when you hit an enemy with it, it kind of does like a soul punch from Necros, but it puts out a tribute. Now if you pick up this tribute, you'll get a timer, boop, on that particular buff, right? And let's say you did a soul punch to this guy or whatever, boop, and it's got that little thing, right? And then you pick another one and you soul punch another one. Well, if I pick this up, it's gonna buff that one. If I pick this up, it's gonna buff that one, right? Or it's gonna give me that ability, so on and so forth, right? And then it does synergize with your fourth as well, and I'll explain that in a minute. Anyway, let's get into what they are. So, Thorns, which will be that guy, it's identified by that symbol you see right there. What that is it will reduce incoming damage to Titania and reflect that damage by 50%. You cannot affect this with mods. It's basically her defense buff. So if you want to get some kind of damage reduction, basically, you just hit an enemy with that and then pick it up. Once again, this is not affected by mods. Also, the damage is reflected back to the enemy regardless of distance. So if I just hit this one and I pick up the buff, right, then if somebody snipes me from across the way, then they'll get 50% of that damage struck back to them. Allies affected by it, they visually emit butterflies as well. So if you're playing with a Titania, you got butterflies, it's because you picked up one of those buffs, okay? The second one is Dust, which is going to be that guy. The icon looks like this. And I apologize. Oops, sorry. I apologize. This is going to be a long one. Warframe Wiki Wednesday on Warframes are always really long, so just give you a heads up. That's what that's identified by, Dust. This reduces the accuracy of enemies within range by 50%. And this also, by the way, none of these abilities are affected by mods, so you cannot buff her tributes, just to give you a heads up. But this accuracy situation, it does stack on top of EMP Aura for a total of 65 reduced accuracy against the Corpus, but it's really only against the Corpus. Enemies affected by this also get butterflies. That's how you know if the accuracy is messed up or not. Anyway, so that's that one. Now we got Full Moon. What Full Moon is, I'm just going to read it straight from the wiki on this one. It's pretty straightforward though. So this one basically buffs your razor wings and your companions, or razor flies, I should say. So with the razor flies, it increases the damage dealt by companions and razor flies by 75%. It also gives them a 50% buff to their health and armor. Razor flies are those little things that you see flying around me with the little blue trails around them. Those are razor flies, right? So it buffs those guys. And yes, they do have their own shields and energy pools. And Full Moon is what buffs them effectively. And your companions, by the way. Entangle, which is identified by this icon, that guy right there. This slows down the movement of enemies within range by 25%. Also not affected by mods, okay? By the way, anytime you're affecting an enemy, they are going to be identified with little butterflies around them, okay? So that is her second ability. Whole lot to cover on that one. I'll get into some more specifics, but for the most part, it really just comes down to how you build. When I get into the build port, I'll show you. Now we have Lantern. Now, Lantern is her CC ability, right? Let me go ahead and reload these enemies so I can show this one to you. This is more so what you're going to be using for her CC. Her first one is good, but I believe it's her third. That's the one I use. I use her third more so because the range is ridiculous on it. So I'm going to leave and pause for now while I explain it, and I'll go show it to you. So what it says is that it creates a swarm of razor flies that transform an enemy into an irresistible floating beacon, attracting witless comrades before exploding on command. So basically, in a nutshell, it's good, but it kind of sucks at the same time. So what it does is, first off, you need an enemy to CC, right? But when you do hit an enemy with that ability, they stop shooting you. That's effectively all that happens, right? You can be next to them, they won't shoot at you or nothing, but that's what happened. And it's gonna sit there for a pretty good duration. Now you can hit all these guys and kill them and whatnot. As you can see, the health bar is gray on the one that's being CC'd. And you can recast this too. You can recast it a bunch of times. So you can have this one going, you can have this one going, you can have this one going, and all of them have their own range. Let me show you that range. Now this one is affected by mods, Lantern. So it says the range is 25 meters. But the attract radius is 20 meters, which is actually still really good. So you can, now what they mean by 25 meters is you can only actually cast it on an enemy 25 meters away, right? But it attracts enemies within 20 meters. This one is affected by mods, which in my opinion is really good. Let me go ahead and pick a different build real quick. Let's see, I think it's that first one. Yeah, so 190%. Yeah. So with this one, you're gonna have much more range on it. I got 38 meters on my radius, and I can cast it from 47 meters away. But 38 meters, keep in mind, that's the radius. Always double it if you want to get the diameter, or the actual like circle range of it. So I'm gonna do this. Boop. And if I just load up some more enemies, which I probably should have did that. Simulate. All right, cool.
So now what'll happen is you'll have it. You see how they're blue? They got that little blue hue on them. That's how big the radius is, right? And they're just gonna kind of make their way towards that lantern, right? So that's I really like that ability.
Anyway, it's not really that complicated. I don't need to talk this long about it, but let's go ahead and jump into her Razor Wing. Now, Razor Wing is a little bit more. It's really not complicated, but it's a lot of information on it because it synergizes with so much with her. I'm going to pause this AI. Okay, so they're still cool. All right, so Razor Wing. She shrinks down. Basically, this is one where she shrinks down. Now, it's a two thing. So one thing to note about it, it's got this cast speed. I think it's like 1 second or something, but it casts half the speed if you do it in the air. Just to give you a heads up. So Razor Wing, this is her exalted mode. Basically, she works exactly like an Arcwing does. She's supposed to be getting Blink sometime soon, and that is how you spawn her Razor Flies. Her Razor Flies, think of them kind of like little companions. They're not super duper strong, but they're there, and they do kind of help the CC as well. She also gets these two weapons known as the Dex Pixia and the Dewata. The Dex Pixia being her pistols and the Dewata being her melee. Before I get into it, I just want to let you guys know her melee absolutely is trash, and I do not recommend using it unless you got some over-the-top build with like 300 power strength and as much like dumped into her melee as possible. Otherwise, it's just not going to do the DPS you're looking for. On the other hand, her pistols are absolutely amazing. So with these, I mean, we're looking at 150s. Now that's what a crappy build. Now her melee, on the other hand, like I said, yeah, that'll take me forever to actually kill him. Another thing to note about her, fourth ability is if you have any melee arcanes. This is actually really awesome. If you have any melee arcanes, it's going to automatically proc your arcanes if you're within range, and because your Razor Flies will just proc your, like, let's say you got Arcane Strike and Arcane Fury, just for example. So in this one, I should have Arcane Strike, right? So if you look at the top right corner where they show they proc, I'm not even going to hit the enemy. I'm just going to turn it on, and you're going to see it says Arcane Strike, which is pretty dope. So I'm just going to turn it on. Razor Wing hits it, Arcane Strike. I didn't even have to touch the enemy. So if you just want to get your Arcane Strike, you can just do that and then turn it off, and now you got Arcane Strike. Right? So that's just the first note about it. Now now let me get into some of the other mechanics of it, because this is probably the one that a lot of people are going to be using the most. You synergize this one with her second ability, and if you have her Augment Razor Wing Blitz, which is the last mod I'm going to put on there. I'm just waiting for the Prime to come out to make an actual build. But what happens is you get these. If you look by her fourth ability, she has the number 6. Well, that number 6 is going to increase the more tributes you get, right? So if I get a tribute by, like, let's say I use my second ability while I'm in this mode, and then I pick up that buff, now it says 7, right? And what's funny is they'll pick it up for you, but if I pick it up, whoops, oh, I'm doing it wrong, sorry. Boop, boop. Oh, that's what it is. So I have to change it. Boop. Come on, switch. There we go. Boop. Now I got 8. If I switch it and do a different one, now I got 9. Right? If I switch it and do another one, now I got 10. So now I got 10 Razor Flies out there doing whatever they need to do. Right? Now, once again, they do have their own health pool and things like that. And if I go and turn this AI on, if it'll let me. Okay. Give me that one. Give me that one. Give me that one. Give me that one.
See how it says 4? See, now they're gone, right? If you want to restore them, you just do that, and for everyone you put a tribute on, you get another one. You can also, of course, do your CC. You see how they don't even know what the heck to shoot at? Stuff like that. That's because I mean, it's all type of stuff that Titania does. Let me just read it, and then I'll just skip past this part. I don't want to get too far into it. I'm just kind of excited about it. I'm really excited about this Titania. So she shrinks down a quarter of her size, becoming a pixie in this form, blah, 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 blah. Evasion percentage is not affected by ability strength. Flight speed is affected by sprint mods. Titania does not have primary weapon while raising wing, so you can use. So if you're going to use arcanes, you're going to want to use pistol arcanes or pistol modifiers if you want to affect her guns. It does count as being airborne, so you can use aviator or agility drift. Apparently, I went on Twitter this morning. There's this big thing about AGGP complaining about some mod he wanted or something like that. I say just build her efficiently. Like, you shouldn't. It doesn't matter. Anyway, you can also use natural talent if you want to increase the cast speed of this, but that goes without saying. Let's get into her build, because I don't want it to drag on for too long. I think you guys pretty much got the gist of it. So for Titania, there's a couple things. You could build her extremely efficient, and it depends on the level of enemies you're going to be fighting and the ability you're going to be using. If you're going to be using her CC, naturally you're not going to need a lot of power strength. You're going to need more so range, and you don't need a ton of duration because she already has an amazing duration on it at 22 seconds for her second ability. Same thing on her tribute ability. That one's at 10 seconds. That should be long enough for you to hit the person and grab the tribute if you need it. The thing about it is the tribute lasts for so incredibly long that I doubt you'll even need to do a pickup for a little under 2 minutes. So let me pause the AI and I'll show you what I mean. So this is with a 90% duration on her tribute. I'm going to pull out thorns. I'm going to hit this person with thorns. Boop. Now I got 120. Yeah, that's a 2-minute duration, so you should be fine. By the way, I don't believe you can actually change that duration. That's just the way it is. But yeah, so duration, you're not going to need a ton of it. That's more for her third ability. Just give you guys a heads up. So, and then another build is going to be more so on her strength. So when I was shooting my Dex Pixia, that was on this build with 90% power strength. Whereas if you did something like 240 power strength, now her Dex Pixia is going to be, well, obviously, it's going to be a lot stronger. All right, so I'm going to just shoot now. Yep. Yep. Now, once again, her Dewata is not going to be strong at all, really. I mean, you can make it strong, so it's still killed to 170, but I feel like it should be stronger because of that. You see what I'm saying? So, but yeah, so that's that. In regards to her range, I wouldn't say you need an absolute ton of range. Once again, it depends on how you're going to play her. If you're using her fourth ability and her tribute, then range is probably not going to be the biggest deal. It's still good to have a little bit, at least a little bit of range on her, because there will be situations where you might need to hit her third just to get control of the battlefield. Other than that, if you're really just using her Razor Wing, then I'd say it's safe to just spec all your resources into power strength as priority 1, efficiency priority 2. Speaking of which, her efficiency is actually the biggest catalyst for getting her energy per second down. So let me show you that. What we're going to do is we're going to find like what the best option is for her efficiency, because this seems to be a conversation too. So as you can see, if I put duration on it, it's going to drop it to 3.23, right? Let me just do continuity and streamline. That's probably a little bit easier. So we're going to do, where are you? So let's do streamline first. So with streamline, it drops it to 3.5, and with continuity, which is somewhere in here, because I'm organized, I'm just going to type it. I'm going to check that comment in a moment. There it goes. With continuity, it drops it to 3.85. What this means is that duration helps, but it's not going to be as effective as efficiency is going to be, meaning that if you put on fleeting expertise, particularly a max one, where is it at? There's going to be this weird give and take that you're going to get from it. So that's odd. So it actually broke even. That's hilarious. That's fine. Let's put on continuity and then fleeting expertise and see what happens. Boom. There we go. We got a 2.11. Now we got a 5. Now we got a 3.23. See, so it's kind of weird, right? So it's kind of balancing these two. At least that's what I had to do when I made this build. I can't remember exactly what I had to do, but I do remember I put a ton of efficiency in there. It kind of was lackluster on the duration. Let's go ahead and put Streamline on there now. And last but not least, we're going to put Narrow-Minded, just to see what we can cap her efficiency at. 1.25. I want to say 1.25 might be the cap. Yeah, 1.25 is the cap. Yeah. Yeah, so there's no, you can't get more efficient than 1.25. So, let's see if we can get this more efficient. We're going to throw a 3 dot fleeting expertise on there if I can find it. Boop, boop. There we go. And 1.3. So maybe a 3 dot, keep a little bit of duration on your side. So I'd say probably with these mods right here, you might be going good if you're looking for an efficiency build. Anyway, enough about that. I'm not going to get too much into the wiki because it's really, really crazy. It's a lot of information covering her, but that pretty much covers it for the most part. Last but not least, there's that Razor Wing Blitz. That one, I am going to say I do recommend, if you can get your hands on it, I do recommend getting it. The reason why is because what Razor Wing Blitz does is it buffs your speed by 100%. Let me pull up the wiki on this one real quick. And this is contingent on you casting abilities. So if you're already in the habit of casting your third and your second while in Razor Wing, then you're pretty much already ready for a Razor Wing Blitz. You just pop that mod on, and what it's going to do is this is exactly what it says. It says flight speed increased by 25%. Sorry about all that, I just woke up. It increased by 25%, and fire rate increased by 25% for 8 seconds when using ability stacks up to 4 times. If you use 4 abilities, you now have a 100% fire rate, which is basically this, but double. So, basically double DPS. Half the magazine, but double the DPS. That's the way you want to look at it. Anyway, this is CS with DWP. For any questions, or if I overlooked something or missed some type of synergy or went left field or whatever, go ahead and just leave the comment down below. It helps everybody out, not just me. It helps out everybody who watches this video going forward. Yeah, if you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And oh yeah, forgot about these comments. So sorry about that. Oh, lastly, forgot about the weapon build. I'm sitting here making my exit. Boom. Dexpixia. I haven't min-maxed it yet, but this is what I came up with so far. Fire rate does seem to play a huge role in her Dexpixia, by the way. For crit, wouldn't really recommend crit, but it depends on what her prime's going to look like. We might be looking at a 20% crit chance, 15% crit chance, somewhere around there. Depending on what these numbers are, you might be more enticed to do prime target cracker and prime pistol gambit. Me personally, I would recommend over Scorch putting prime heated charge, but that's up for testing, so we got to wait and see when we get that one. Now, as you can see, the original one came with 2 Vs and a dash. So if anything, you might only have to form these maybe 2 or 3 times to really get a maxed out build on it. If any, I don't think Magnum Force would be good on it, but once again, we have to wait and see. Just to note, you cannot put Blood Rush or Weeping Wounds on these type of weapons, on exalted weapons, so don't look for those. But if you did want crit, Sacrificial Steel is probably going to be a good one for you. Prime Reach is okay on it. All it did really was extend the amount of reach that she can lock on. It did extend the reach of the weapon as well, but yeah. Fury and Berserker seem to play a huge role because it just means more status procs. I think with this weapon, you're probably going to want to go some type of hybrid kind of situation. Now, her crit chance with True Steel is 44%, and with Organ Shatter, it's a 3.8 multiplier. So maybe going with Sacrificial Steel, Organ Shatter, maybe 2 dual stats, which is what I wanted to do, but the dash was at the end of it, which was kind of an issue, obviously, because I can't do Viral Heat, right? But you can do Condition Overload, so Viral Heat would be smart to put there. Plus, that has IPS, meaning you have a 600% damage increase if you get all 5. So that would be the build I would probably look into. You know, maybe take one of these off, put Heat, and you know what I mean? Just kind of play with it the way that you want to play with it. But for the most part, Viral and Berserker at some point, and obviously Condition Overload, those 4 more than likely are going to end up on this build. That's just my personal recommendation. From there, you just min-max it. Let me look at these. Look at these comments. See what's going on with this right here. Oh, it's Snowy. What's going on, man? 15 minutes late because of notifications. Don't trip. Thoughts on DE Scott want to delete the simulate? Wait a minute, you're telling me she has her own Arcwing? Oh, you already knew that. So the thing about the Simulacrum, here's the thing about the Simulacrum. The reason why I'm not shooting it in a mission is because of this type of situation where comments come in. Now, I don't care what he says because I am not editing videos. If I was editing videos, then it's like, okay, I kind of see where you're coming from. But the thing is, though, like for me to show off her abilities, I'd have to go in the mission, go find the enemies, make sure it's the right setup, and then also make sure they're not going to die too fast. And then I'm getting shot at and all this extra stuff. So it's kind of hard for me to teach people stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not a channel that's here to just like, like yesterday I did an 82 minute survival, right? With Lost. And I mean, I could have streamed it, yeah, but it's like, I'm not here to show you guys you can stay that longer survivals. I'm here to teach you how to do that. You can be in the stream and we can kick it. That's cool if I'm streaming, but I was farming. I'm pretty sure people don't want to farm a lot. Anyway, I'll start another stream talking about that one. So, yeah, I'll do a different stream talking about that. Anyway, this is CS with DWP, and I hope you guys liked the video. Once again, if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next piece of content. All right, you guys, holla, peace. Woo!